Hello, everybody. I'm Dr. Frank Cadle, and I want to thank you for joining me for this live. I'm trying to do things a little bit different this time, so hopefully you'll bear with me as I struggle with the technology a little bit. I'm trying to do these on Fridays at 5 p.m. Pretty much every day, and what I'm hoping to do here is moderate my own account through another account. I don't know if that's going to work, but we'll see what we can do here. So this week I am talking about, there we go, I think that's got it. There we go. I think that's got it. All right, thank you very much. Sorry for the hold up. Just trying to make sure that I have access to my own moderation because we do get some kind of weird things that pop in on here. Today I'm going to be talking about portion size, and portion control is really the foundation of the Get Fit and Be Lean program. When I come on here and I say I eat whatever I want, I really mean that. I eat ribs and burgers and pizza and ice cream and jelly beans and chocolate. I eat everything. But why aren't I in Ghostbusters? Don't know. Okay. Shout out to your friend. Thanks. Ice Willow. Happy birthday. Anyway, but what I do differently now is I have actually expanded what I eat. I eat more things than I used to eat. And one of the things that includes are vegetables, and I was talking about the need to get 2 servings of raw or steamed vegetables at lunch and 2 servings at dinner. And somebody asked me a perfectly reasonable question: what is a serving? And so what we have to understand is where this term came from. It's really a product of the FDA, the Food and Drug Administration, and they have set standards, and they've broken all this stuff down, and they've used the technology that we have today in order to develop the caloric content of a serving. So the cereal that I eat, you can see right there, it has a column of nutrients on it, and it tells you right on the container that there are 7 servings in this whole box, and it's about 53 grams, 3/4 of a cup. And this is true with larger amounts. If you want to make something, you can determine how many total calories there are. I don't really count calories, but I do count servings. And the way I do that is with just your typical household items. Measuring cup, okay, measuring cup. Or I also have a measuring scale that I use pretty commonly, particularly first time in the morning. I will almost always, nope, don't free R. Kelly. Let's not only don't free him, but we will mute you because no pedophiles allowed. Particularly the convicted type. That's really weird. Okay, so what I want to do is show you how I will typically measure. If I'm going to eat some pistachios, I like pistachios for a snack. You'll see them a lot on my list of meals. What I'll do is I'll just dump them right in there, okay? And I try not to spill. A 1/2 cup of unshelled pistachios is 1 serving. And then I seal the bag. Okay, I seal the bag and I put it back in there. Why do I do that? Because the fact is that for me, I tend to eat mindlessly. That's how I got over 50, 60 pounds overweight. And when I eat mindlessly, I consume a really unlimited number of calories. So it's very important in these multi-serving containers. I put the container away, I get my single serving out. So what I'm teaching today is serving sizes. And some of the serving sizes will kind of surprise you. Some of them make sense. You know, this is an English muffin. Serving size is 1 muffin. And what the FDA said, and they made a change. They used to just leave this up to the manufacturers of processed goods, but they made a change in 2020. So now it is supposed to be not what they wish it was, but what the typical person would eat. So if you look at, let's say, some sodas, okay, and this is a root beer, okay, and I like root beer. This is 12 fluid ounces, and what it says there is that is 1 serving, okay? Now, this is a Coke, and I buy these in the small cans. This says it's 1 serving, and that's 7.5 fluid ounces. So obviously, if I can buy them in these smaller containers, even the company says this is what someone would typically consume is 1 serving. And so if I can buy a smaller container full, then maybe I can keep myself from overindulging. So can't state something when people are being, I don't understand what that means. So I'm already dead to a couple of people. I can't take those offers. But I do want you to understand that when we start talking about vegetables, okay, and this is what I really stress in the Get Fit and Be Lean program is vegetables, okay? And what they say is a serving of this is a cup of spinach, okay? Now, as you can see, that's really not very much when it comes to spinach. So when I say you need to get 2 servings, well, you can do that in a meal very easily. And when you steam this stuff down, if you want to eat it heated, it's really not very much food. So it becomes really quite easy to get a serving or 2 servings of fresh vegetables with lunch and with dinner. Okay? And I think it's really important that we stress with lunch and with dinner. So I looked at the servings of asparagus. I looked this up today. You can find this on the internet. It's easy to locate. And what it says is it is 6 of these little spears. Well, now that's not very much asparagus. I mean, if I chop that up and put it in a steamer, I can easily do 2 of those, okay? So you don't necessarily, if you want to have the 2 serving approach that I recommend, 2 servings at lunch and 2 servings at dinner, you don't necessarily have to worry about having 2 different vegetables. You can just eat 2 servings of spinach. Now, I try to be very cautious to weigh those high density snacks like the nuts that I showed you, okay? Or to make sure that I only have 1 of any processed servings that are presented. But when you're talking about spinach, when you're talking about asparagus, you're talking about the vegetables, okay? Arugula, fennel, celery, kale, all these different leafy green things that grow above the ground. If you get an extra serving of that, it's not going to kill you, okay? So you don't have to worry about weighing those out. But what I do weigh out every morning when I first make it is my cereal. And the reason I do that is because I don't want to start my day overfilling myself with more than a serving. And actually now that I've dropped over 55 pounds with the Get Fit and Be Lean program, what I do now is I actually am cutting back on my serving sizes, okay? So this says 53 grams, and I'll actually take about 3/4 of that, okay? And the reason that I'm doing that is because I know the physiologic process that's going on in my body, okay? I'm working out on a regular basis. I started working out when I was really overweight, and I've lost 55 pounds. But we know that when I was gaining weight, my fat cells were increasing in size, but also increasing in number. They were recruiting the mesenchymal cells to differentiate into new fat cells, adipocytes. But now that I'm losing weight, I've lost quite a bit of weight, my fat cells are smaller. There's just as many of them as there was when I started, okay? Those cells live for 10 years before it's time for them to be replaced. And whether or not they get replaced depends on what your energy input and output balance is at the time that the cell dies. So when I talk about my metabolism slowing down, then I have to talk about decreasing even the serving size that I was using, 6 months ago. And I'm not talking about starving myself. You guys see me eat. You see the meals that I put online. I eat whatever I want. I eat a lot of different foods. I eat Indian and Mexican and Thai. But I really strive to keep my servings at a reasonable amount. I really work hard to separate out a single serving of anything that comes in a multi-serving container, whether that's jelly beans or M&Ms or chips or whatever. I get a serving, I put it into a bowl. I've got a bowl that I use here. Okay, I put it on my scales, I measure it out, and then I put it away before I even start eating. And if I come to where I'm really snacking at night, I'm really feeling like I'm unsatisfied. Resistance weight training, I have not done any at all as I've done the Get Fit and Be Lean program. But I will be talking more about that probably in 2022. Testosterone therapy, you don't need it unless your testosterone is low. Okay, a lot of people trying to sell it to you, but you don't need it unless you have low testosterone, which should be measured by a reputable laboratory with a physician. So portion sizes, like I said, it's the foundation of the Get Fit and Be Lean program. It is the main reason that I've been able to maintain, okay, as I persist in this, and I've been able to lose over 55 pounds, more than 21% of my body weight. It's not magic, okay? It hasn't required any medicine, any surgery. I'm not taking any supplements. I don't use any protein powders. But I'm seeing a transformation of my body that's almost like going back into time. I mean, I was talking to a friend who knew me years ago, and I said, yeah, I weigh about now what I did in 1995. And that makes a big difference. Let me get this question here. Is that misleading? Does any improvement in health reverse damage? Actually, I'm glad you asked about the vascular reversal of disease. There's a fellow named Dr. Dean who did some really good research on patients who were turned down by the Cleveland Clinic for surgery on their coronary artery disease. So those are some pretty sick people. And he was very rigid about their diet, very strict control of their caloric intake and their cholesterol and their triglycerides. And he showed angiographic evidence that there had been a regression of the cardiovascular disease that they were suffering from. Now, I'm not, this is not some live-long program, okay? I'm not trying to live 1,000 years. There's a really good doc online. His name's Dr. Terry Simpson. I like a lot of his videos. I stitch some of his videos. He looks a lot at life projection and risk factors and all that stuff. I'm just trying to lose some weight and get in shape, okay? So my program is about portion control. I'm not cutting out meats. I'm not eliminating cheese. I still eat chocolate. But I think it's pretty sustainable. And I think I can do it over the long term. So I hope you'll follow me. I really appreciate everybody coming by. This was kind of a short one of my scheduled Friday PM lives. But the Hokies are playing Boston and they just fumbled. And so I really need to go watch the football game. But I'm 6'2", and the carnivore thing, you got to be kidding me. You know, I heard some moron talking about the carnivore diet the other day, and he said that when you cut down kale, it produces a chemical to defend itself. Well, I would like to give that moron a spear and let him go after a wild boar and see if animals defend themselves when you try to get the meat. What a stupid assumption that is. No, I'm not a fan of the Cora. Okay, when said okay, I don't really know what. Oh, I can feed back. So, what would you do if he said, would you? I don't have any idea what you're talking about. You sound like you may be having maybe a little mini stroke or a dissociative event. Any improvements? Yeah, I touched base on that. So I hope that if you have questions, you go to my videos that are on TikTok and you present those questions. You can't do the Q&A tab. It disappeared. I don't know why. It really frustrates me because I did have questions that were in there that I planned on doing these kind of programs on. But I really want to thank you for the program on the portion size. It is the foundation of the Get Fit and Be Lean program. And you need to know that these portion sizes are designed for average people, okay? If you're 5'2", these portion sizes that are printed on these packages are probably too big for you to achieve a negative energy balance where you're taking in fewer calories than you're putting out, okay? And that's just the reality of averages and programs that are designed for everybody. My program is designed for everybody, and that's why I really try hard not to address everybody that comes on with all their disease processes of PCOS and insulin resistance and Crohn's disease and ulcerative colitis, all kinds of stuff. This is not your program. Talk to your doctor. But I really appreciate everybody coming by. It was great to have such a strong turnout. Avoid eggs. You can avoid eggs. That's fine. Breakfast. So you might want to go with just yogurt and try that. I have a grapefruit for breakfast, but with diabetes, that makes it tough. So you're going to really have to take a look at your blood sugar. This is not a program that is designed to help people control their blood sugar. It's not about insulin resistance and spikes and all that stuff. This is a portion control problem. And within that portion control, I eat everything that I want. And if you have limitations based on diseases you have, I think you can still look at portion control, which is what I'm talking about. So 300 to 600 calories a day, outstanding for somebody who never gets out of bed or maybe is trying to punish themselves. I would never do that. I would never recommend it. I think it's a bad idea. Just think it's a bad idea. Bad way to lose weight. How long are you going to be able to keep that up? Look at this, man. I mean, I've dropped 55 pounds, 21% of my body weight. I've been hungry a couple of times, a little bit, but most of the time I'm feeling pretty full from what I'm eating. Because once your stomach shrinks down and you decrease those stretch receptor signals telling you got to eat because you're starving to death, it really makes a big difference. And let's face it, a large percentage of people who lose a significant amount of weight gain it back. And that is a problem. And that's a problem that I'm trying to address through regular routine calisthenics. Anybody can do. You can adjust them to your own difficulty. Do them every other day. Do them 3 or 4 times a week. And then you can increase the difficulty as your strength and stamina increase. Portion control with a wide, varied, satisfying, hearty, healthy diet. That's what I'm trying to promote with the Get Fit and Be Lean program. Thanks everybody that stopped by. I really appreciate it. I hope I got to your questions. Protein powders, don't need them. I eat oatmeal regularly, eat lots of berries, lots of bananas. So thanks a lot for the questions. And I hope you'll go check out my profile and my videos so that you can put your questions on any particular video to which that pertains. Thanks.